Critic, and I'll stay super as you stay awesome, and welcome to the last week of Gamurary. This was supposed to go up last week, but I ended up getting sick, so...
Yay, coronavirus. Hey, in case anyone asks, the best way to get rid of coronavirus, a little bit of wine.
After the original 3-issue miniseries ended in 1996, Acclaim Comics began another set of 3 comics that filled in the blanks of specific characters' backstories talking about within the game itself.
As you can see, Killer Instinct. Literally the greatest fighting game they ever made, and took 15 years to make a third one.
Well, that being said, this is the rest of the 90s comics.
It's 3 issues, so we're gonna skip the covers, but issue 4 begins with yet another Killer Instinct tournament, with Jago facing Riptor Clone, Orchid, Combo, and Thunder watching on, with Orchid worrying about Jago fighting while injured. However, Jago fights on, but is eventually overcome, Riptor knocking him unconscious, causing Orchid to jump into the arena, clearly breaking the rules.
So, this is a tournament that has no rules, but Jago could get disqualified if Orchid jumps into the fight.
I mean, it's like ghetto street fight rules, you know? You never fuck with another man's fight, man. Let them get their asses stomped in, otherwise you're disrespectful, homie.
You are white.
Yeah?
Orchid rushes to help Jago and alludes to an off-comic fight with Saberwolf where Jago got clawed open and infected. And this pisses Orchid off to the point that she tracks Saberwolf down in the locker room, demanding to know what he did to Jago. Saberwolf tells her that he has no idea how to uninfect Jago, but that the reason he is even in the tournament is to heal himself, and that the new chairman is the one with the answers.
Meanwhile, in the chairman's office, the new director, Howard, is interrupted by the old nameless chairman and his secretary, Kara. The old chairman decides he is taking Ultratech back over, and when Howard objects, Kara shoots him while quoting Shakespeare.
Wherefore art thou, Romeo? She's 14.
This just got weird.
While the chairman has Kaya call housekeeping to take care of the mess, Orchid walks in and demands the cure for Jago. Chairman says that there is none, and instead begins getting frisky with Kara, so Orchid instead walks away.
Give me the cure!
No! I want to get my dick wet.
You.
Gonna give it a dick.
At Saberwolf's room, him and Orchid discuss what to do about the serum, as he finds a photo of Orchid, and her family has a child. She lets him know she was abandoned and doesn't like to talk about any of it.
So my question is, why would that picture be in Saberwolf's room instead of Orchid's? Why does he have a picture of Orchid as a child?
I don't know, does Saberwolf have a kid in the story?
Not to the comics knowledge. If
That would be the only thing that would make sense to me, is if he's like, oh, look, a kid. We're both orphans. He's miserable fucking too. He's cursed forever.
except for her brother ends up being Jago. So,
Well,
no.
yeah, like 4 games later.
Later that night, we head back to the tournament where Green Riptor destroys Spinal before the next match, which is Thunder versus Cinder, which gets announced. Orchid and Saberwolf head into Ultratech to find this serum, but as they enter the room, they instantly smell Kara and a couple of Riptors.
You know, if the Riptors really smell that bad, you should just, like, hang air fresheners.
The fight begins as Kara tells Orchid that the serum is behind the door they are in front of as one of the Riptors attacks Saberwolf. The 2 Riptors are then destroyed by our heroes, and Saberwolf makes his way to the door to find the serum, drinking it without hesitation. Which, of course, is a mistake, as he just becomes a giant green blob, since Maya had apparently lied to them about which serum was actually behind the door.
Person do you have to be in a story to not realize the bad guy is the bad guy?
Ha ha ha! I'm going to kill you! I work for the main bad guy organization! Here, drink the serum! Oh, okay! Oh, I'm a plant!
I'm sorry, but that's just dumb.
Alright, so at the end of issue 1, they allude to Orchid and Jago being...
Orchid and Kara began kicking each other's asses, with Orchid coming out on top and throwing her into Cinder and Spinal. Orchid then goes into Jago's hospital room to check in on him. She finds that the chairman and the lead doctor are allowing him to suffer and say they can't actually help without removing his mask, revealing a birthmark under the wolf hair to Orchid that she seems to remember.
Orchid wants to know what it will take to help him, to which the doctor says he will need a DNA sample in order to compare it to a parent or sibling. Orchid is extremely happy, as even the chairman is confused. We then learn that Orchid is actually the long-lost sister of Jago, ending the first issue.
All I know is I really hope this set of siblings don't become Wanda and Pietro. In the comics, they have sex.
Was it quick?
Issue 2 begins in Tahoe, California, with a group of nameless bystanders that became witnesses to a UFO crashing, which is revealed to be the ice creature named Glacius, which crash-landed on Earth, needing to find some way to revive himself by re-watering his body laying down in the snow. Later that night, he finds a market store thinking it is an altar to a fire god.
Glacius, not a fire god, American god.
I prefer metal gods.
Yeah, Judas Priest.
A security guard finds Glacius, but is backed by Ultratech, who lies to Glacius about helping him out, and he becomes the next test subject, demanding him to take part in Killer Instinct in order to survive long enough for his rescue ship to help him home, which of course he sees that he has no choice.
Glacius is given the criminal hothead Cinder as a mentor and trainer, who seems to be very reluctant in getting close to him and just wants the cure for the accident that turned into what he considers a freak of nature. But as the two continue the conversation, Cinder's flames set off the...
So, of course, the man made of fire's weakness is, water.
Don't be such a hothead.
Glacius tries to help shield Cinder from death, but apparently Cinder did not want to be saved, as he either wants death or a cure. Glacius then learns it's his turn to have a match, as the next 3 pages are filled with matches against Saberwolf, Thunder, Riptor, Combo, and Spinal, with Glacius coming out on top in every match.
After his final match, Cinder shows Glacius even more animosity because he doesn't believe that the chairman was actually truthful and resents the honesty with Glacius. And they go to the next morning, where we see Ultratech has fixed Glacius' ship, to the shock of both of them. All the Instinct fighters are then gathered around by Ultratech men. Glacius then figures out what really goes on.
What a shocker! Ultratech betraying someone else.
Buzz. My ear.
What does that have to do with anything?
Shock. Electricity. Buzz.
Finish the comic.
Cinder then shows his real colors and does the good thing of destroying some of the missile launchers before they can shoot down Glacius' kind. The fight then begins as the Killer Instinct fighters are quick to help Glacius take down the Ultratech men, but in the incident, Cinder is shot by a tank with water. Glacius then holds onto Cinder as he lies dying, and Cinder finally feels happiness as he feels himself die. Ending the second issue with Cinder evaporating and Glacius preparing for the new battle.
I just died in your arms tonight.
We're gonna get copywritten.
Issue 3 starts with Thunder being woken up by the communicator to see that his wife, Bright River, has been waiting for his call.
Before you start, can I just say that in the new Killer Instinct game, they kind of open up a new dimension, almost, like an alternate universe for all the characters. And I think the most insulting thing they did to any character was Cinder. Because in the original game, he was trapped and forced to become what he was against his will and forced to be in the tournament.
And then
in the second one, in the new Killer Instinct game, they turned him into Ryan Reynolds.
what?
I'm not kidding. For the first time in any video, I'm dead serious of how insulting this was. They took this. They even gave him the same story. Ultra Tech took the soldier, tricked him, tortured him, set him on fire, continued to torture him, all the while doing genetic experiments on him with alien genetics, i.e. Glacius, and turned him into living lava. Because of the torture and because of who his character was before the torture, he snaps and becomes Ryan Reynolds. He comes into the video and in the middle of fights will crack jokes. So he goes from one of the most selfless, tricked characters that you can actually feel for, and gets turned into a flaming Human Torch Deadpool douchebag wannabe. It is the most annoying thing in the entire series.
Killer Instinct, everybody.
Rant.
The two lovebirds talk about how long Thunder has been on the search for his brother, Black Eagle, and Thunder just asks for his tribe to have a little bit more patience. Then, an hour later, Orchid comes to grab him for practice, only for him to say he's no longer participating in the tournament. We then learn more of Black Eagle's backstory, as he was a tournament winner that was looked up to and respected worldwide. But when he didn't return, Thunder joined the games in order to find his brother.
Thunder then turns to the spirits for the answers and gives him a vision of him facing Fulgore in battle, which convinces Orchid that Thunder needs to fight Fulgore in order to find Eagle. Orchid then does what she can to convince Thunder that he needs to do what is necessary in order to find his brother alive, hoping that the things don't lead to a double funeral.
You know, the funny thing is, though, if they did end up dying together and having a double funeral, they could always do it like a double stuffed Oreo and have them both in the... What?
I'm trying to keep it straight. This is why we stopped doing co-ops, because we can't.
Because you can't keep a straight face.
Anyway, ready? Your stuff is at 66.9.
Just snort. What the fuck?
Ready? Okay. Try again.
You know, the funny thing is, if they both died, they could have the double funeral and make the coffin like my ex-girlfriend, double stuffed, and save on so much money for the funerals.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
She was the one who got stuffed.
Ultratech's main shareholder then holds a meeting without the chairman because he is outraged that the Fulgore project is a failure, to which the chairman calmly takes his leave. But it's clear he has some sort of trick up his giant sleeve, as he tells his woman it's all about strategy, and she reminds him about the current Fulgore that will face Thunder that night.
Thunder is once again having mental anxiety, questioning everything he's been going through as we go into a flashback, where Eagle is teaching Thunder about life and how to fight and not be quick to give up on everything. Orchid tries to reassure him that things are better, and Thunder asks her to let River know what's happening in case he dies to Fulgore.
Yes, let's just have some random girl that's never met my wife be the one to tell her that, I'm dead. That's gonna end well.
If she was secretly a lesbian, it would have.
Sometimes I wish I could strangle you.
The match is announced on the speakers with onlookers betting against Thunder, but during the fight we see the chairman has a control box for Fulgore and is forcing him to fight, but then basically just shuts Fulgore down, allowing Thunder to send him into the wall.
Fulgore then comes to and is revealed that it's actually Eagle inside of a Fulgore body, as Ultratech has been secretly wanted to basically create cyborgs instead of full robots. And the comic book ends with Thunder releasing his brother from the torture, even with the audience hating the fact that the fight had to come to an abrupt stop.
So that was Killer Instinct Super Special 1 through 3. I personally like the comics,
But the name of the comic was stupid.
that's
Super special! It's like our parents describing us.
yes. But I would recommend the comics, but honestly, they could have been a lot better.
I'm just excited and hoping that they eventually come out with a show like they did for Mortal Kombat. Just not shitty and like weird 3D acid stroke bath fucking...
Do you have a coherent thought there?
No.
Anyway,
I
speaking of not having a coherent thought, I couldn't come up with an ending for the script. So I have no idea how to end this video.
Could just kill you.
Please don't.